Welcome to this week's Swarf and Chips, coming to you from Coalville, the home of Matsuura. We're going to find out more about their revamp of the showroom and their latest business updates. I'll be testing the guys on some of their favourite machines from within the showroom, so getting a little bit of an education on some of the machines too. We're here for the whole show today, so Geo2 will be talking about their 3D printing technology, as well as catching up with the National Sales Manager, Dominic Seminario, later on in the show. In addition to all of that, as usual, we've got other topics that we're going to discuss. These include a visit to Northern Ireland with Kerf Developments, where we find out the difference between plasma and ultra-sharp plasma. We also visit Axe and Status, another fibre laser machine. And there is a challenge, but it's not on cycle time challenges within this week, with a guy that I love called Jim, and you'll find out why I love him later on in the show. And this would not be complete without a visit to a Matsuura user that's happening later on in the show. All coming up on this week's Swarf and Chips. So, I am going to give you a little challenge, gentlemen. Choose
not that early in the show, please.
This early in the show. You need to choose a machine here and give me a highlight on that machine. Not just one, lots of highlights.
I think I'd look at the VX660. It's a vertical machining centre, but I think for me it's quite impressive because we always talk about Matsuura's multi-pallet machines, their 5-axis technology. We don't often look at the more entry-level machines, which the VX660 is. Entry-level machining centre, but it carries all of the hallmarks of a quality Matsuura machine, hand-built precision. And so, yeah, that would have to be
your
mine.
highlight.
Yeah.
Joe?
Well, you stole my thunder. I was going to say exactly the same machine.
Oh.
So I will go.
Copy me if you want.
Yeah, no. So I'll go for the MX330, which obviously now comes with a 10-piece pallet changer. It follows a theme, doesn't it? It's gone smaller than previous models, but you still get the same accuracy, and you get the lights-out machining, which you would expect from all the horizontals. But obviously, of late, it's been added to the 5-axis verticals as well. And for me, the 330, it's the smallest of the range, but when I do my travels, that's probably 60 or 70% of the parts produced would fit on that machine. So for me, it's a good addition.
It's been a real winner for them.
Yeah, and we're going to speak to Dominic a little bit later on as well and find out about some more of their machines. So coming up, fibre laser technology at Axe and Status, but before then, Paul went to Ireland to talk plasma.
Today for Swarf and Chips, I'm in Dungannon in Northern Ireland. I'm with Gary here. I'm at a company called BSK Engineering who have purchased several plasma cutters from Kerf Developments. For me, I wanted to learn today about the differences with plasma and ultra-sharp plasma, and I'm going to talk to Gary about that. Gary, you've got these machines here, plasma. You have had plasma machines before, plasma cutters, but you've now got the ultra-sharp version. What's the technology there, and what difference does it make?
The technology is in the nesting and the settings that are used within the machine, and it achieves a tolerance much greater than plasma. We can get all our tolerances up to 25 mil to within half a mil.
And what would you have done? What would you have been able to have done before without the ultra sharp? How much difference would it have made on tolerances?
Well, for example, on parts now that we can cut our holes in, before we would have to cut the part and drill the hole to achieve that tolerance. So it's saving a lot of time.
And is there a difference on the finish of the cut as well?
The finish on your outside cut is astonishing. It's as smooth as the top of the steel is before cutting.
And the final part from me as well, when you move or when you're cutting on these machines, does it depend on the depth of the steel to the speed that you cut? Yeah. How's the algorithm work?
It's all calculated within our nesting software. It works out your speed and everything. For example, on your 6mm steel, she's moving to about 2,600 millimeters per minute.
Okay.
On a straight line.
And would you say the Kerf machines are quick compared to some of the others? Is that a characteristic that people look at when they're looking at these machines? Because the quicker you can get these plates off, the better.
Yeah, obviously the quicker you can get off, the better. But you also don't want to go too quick that you're compromising quality. I think Kerf's found the right balance here.
You called her she. What's her name?
Kerf. Plasma number 3.
Plasma number 3. Nice name. That's it from me here in Dungannon in Northern Ireland. What a fabulous company, and I think that the differences here, the interesting part is it's to do with the software, the differences between the ultra sharp and the plasma, and it to me it's a little bit like a machining centre that's converted from being analog to digital, because when you go around a corner it slows down, it's all about the processing speed, and that's where the ultra sharp is. So it's not actually hardware, it's actually software on the machine.
So what's the thickest piece of material it can cut through?
I think the guys there yesterday, or the guys that we spoke to, we're talking 50 millimetres.
So you've had a birthday of late. Would 50 millimetres of steel, would that get through your birthday cake or not? Probably not, the answer, isn't it?
What I was going to say is that actually when you look at CO2, the differences between plasma and CO2, you have to excuse his joke, but CO2 is generally for more thicker material. So, if you needed to cut him in half, you wouldn't use plasma, you'd use CO2.
You know what? I was just waiting for it. It's a pleasure to have you on set, Joe, because I
good
like
for you to be back.
your comebacks. At least give him as good as he can get.
Well, to be honest, Lindsay, it's great to see you. The cameraman, Gio, Carl, the guys at Matsuura, Paul, maybe not, but everyone else is great.
Oh, right, next up, the fibre laser 5-axis technology from Accent Status.
Accent Status Open House dropped in to see their range of Derma machines. I want to specifically talk about their fibre laser. Now this is, and I need to get it right, the HD F3015BH. Got it right, that's taken about 20 takes. Anyway, I'm going to walk down the machine just to keep it nice and simple. So here you've got twin tables, essentially load your sheet, switch it over, keep the machine running. Next, you've got nice easy controls, so easy even I can work them. In fact, we've had Liam working them as well, so nice and simple. I'm going to get something cutting in a minute, hopefully. They don't know, so if I press a button something goes wrong, we're going to have to scarper. Anyway, you can see what's going on in the machine here, nice little TV viewing panel there. Now, this one here, these are doors, huge doors, so you can get into the working envelope, and even I can work that one, so there we go, without breaking it. But look inside, talk through this. Essentially, what you've got here is a rotary table which will load tubes, so square, round, rectangle, so you can actually cut profile with your laser head. But the pièce de résistance, without me banging my head, is in the background here. Full 5-axis laser, fibre laser, 6 kilowatt. I'm reliably informed, but they've got some new ones coming from Presstech, which will go up to 10 kilowatt. So just a quick showcase, this fantastic machine. That's a Derma machine from Accent Status. They're in Milton Keynes.
Always good, isn't he? Showing us around the machine, our Colin.
How many takes did that take, though? Can you imagine?
About 10.
Yeah, exactly. We see the polished version. It's take 25 probably.
I saw about 4 actually. I saw about 4 takes beforehand. So.
But joking aside, a good video. It's not something fibre and all the different laser technologies. It's not something I have a great skill set for. I know a little bit about it. But what interests me is talking about a 10 kilowatt fibre. There's not many of them about, is there? Most manufacturers that do fibre probably stop at 6 or 8 currently. You'll talk about 10 and higher, but I don't see many in the field.
And also the 5-axis head.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty unique, and the fact that you've got the combination on the machine as well. So I was actually with a customer the other week that was actually looking at buying a tube laser machine as an independent, but this machine would do that as well as general plate work. I've not seen a combination machine like it. I think it's truly unique.
Accessibility as well.
Yeah, and Derma, how well is Derma known? I know. I think it's a Turkish brand sold by Accent Status, but I think from around the UK, how many is there? I mean, is it an undersold machine? Because it certainly looked like a good bit of technology to me.
Yeah.
Is there a big crossover in the industry then of billet work and that type of work, and then your sheet metal and everything? Do many companies cross over, or is it totally strictly?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, a lot of the companies I go in that are using, let's say, Trumpf machines, Accent Status machines, or even Kerf machines, as we've spoken about, they generally tend to be specialists in those areas, and then their machining will go out to other companies.
Outsourced.
As the same as companies that do machining generally don't tend to do the other.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, it's...
I know I was speaking to some of the guys at Mazak, and I can't think of another manufacturer that would sell their own products in the fabrication field and the metal cutting field, if you like. And there is a crossover. The reps there do promote the laser, and there's one not far from me, that they do fabrication and they do 5-axis machining. But it's a smaller market. I think there's probably less than 250 laser machines per year sold. There's metal cutting companies that do that on their own.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's head over to Gio now, who is talking HP 3D printing.
Joe, Matsuura recently took on the HP agency, the 3D printers. Now, how does it complement the machine tool range?
So what we've been doing is manufacturing fixtures using the HP multi-jet fusion. Where a fixture is traditionally made in aluminium or steel, it can take 1 to 2 weeks to manufacture. We can turn it around within 24 hours. So 24 hours, you can have a fixture, part on the machining ready to go.
Now, in regards to 3D printing, there's still a big misconception that 3D printers are only for prototyping. Now, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, HB have come to market around about 3 years ago now, and totally changed the whole sort of image of 3D printing. So their main target is to target production. Yeah. We can still prototype the same way as 3D printers have been used for in the past, but now we're looking at targeting, your automotive, your medical companies, like we've been doing here with the fixturing. So your CNC companies, motorsport, aerospace. There's really no limit to where we can go with this technology because of the speed and the quality of the parts.
Can you give me an example of some of the components that are being manufactured using the 3D printers?
Yeah, so as I say, the fixturing, medical-wise, we're doing prosthetics, orthotics, injection molded parts. So where you're looking at sort of low-run volumes, where you don't want to have a tool made because it can be expensive, we're replacing injection molding sort of processes, if you like.
Now this is quite interesting because the past few Swarf and Chips we've covered this. 3D printing, the fixturing, and that's what Brown & Holmes are doing. You did a video at BCW, saving them a lot of money. What are the benefits?
Well, it's like anything. A fixture will take time to manufacture. There'll be constraints when you're making a fixture because you can't think outside the box necessarily when it comes to metallics. But when it comes to printing it, you can make it how you like. I mean, if you recall, this one was the one that was at Southern Manufacturing that I stood on. Do you think we should make Joe stand on this to see whether see what will happen? Because it took my weight. Will it take yours?
So you've put a hacksaw
Lindsay,
for this.
can you put it on the floor?
Hacksaw through this.
Do you actually want me to do this?
Yeah.
Right, okay. He's not planning any of this. Right, can I not pick it? Oh, no.
Get ready, stand back. I think I'd get everyone to stand
back.
back.
You've stitched me up here, haven't you?
Here we go.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Here we go. Right.
Well, surely, if it works for you, it'll work for me, surely.
No, I don't think it will. Ready?
Before this, by the way, before filming, we had to swap Paul's chair because we worried it was going to break.
There you go.
There we are.
There you go.
So it's strong.
So
it's strong and long.
It's very strong. It's stronger than I thought it would be. And there you go. That just illustrates the strength of a 3D printed part. So it's one way of getting the benefit out of an HP 3D printer. You can be looking at printing your fixtures.
What I like about
that, you must have lost weight.
Sorry,
you must have lost weight since last
something
time.
like that. What I like about the HP, that's you don't need a great deal of detail. That's about rigidity. That's about strength. But there's some of the components in there, the details staggering, absolutely staggering.
Well, we've had
so with
really
one
good
printer, quite often you'll get the rigidity and all the other things, but with that you get both.
We've had previous cycle time challenges on some of the parts that we've seen, and the 3D printing ones, they are phenomenal, aren't they?
And I think that will just be the way components are made in the future. Well, not if we fast forward 10 years, everyone will be using fixtures.
Adding, not subtracting.
Exactly. 5-axis machine. It looks pretty, but it's actually functional as well. They're actually able to get under the component rather than having to do a second op.
Yeah. Well, it's the future. So still to come, Dominic will be joining us, but before that, there is this week's Cycle Time Challenge, but it's not a Cycle Time Challenge as you know it, but it is still your chance to win a Swarf and Chips goodie bag with my mate, Jim. I love him.
Today I'm at Quantum Precision in Birmingham. Jim, you're based right in the jewellery quarter. Do you make parts for that industry?
Unfortunately, no. We don't make any parts for the jewellery. It would be nice to make something in gold and silver, but unfortunately, no.
Well, you wear plenty at the weekend though, don't you? What about what you do make? What do you make here at Quantum?
We make parts for the gas control business, electronics, gun parts, really anything that you can turn on a star or a fixed head.
And this area of the country predominantly used to be high volume component manufacture in the Midlands here. How do you keep competitive?
Well, we don't do high volume anymore. We seem to, high volume for us now is probably 3,000-4,000. And most of the jobs can be 100, 200, 300. And there's more value in these products. Usually there's more involved in them as well.
Quite tricky components we've been looking at today with your colleague, and you can see more of what we've done here at Quantum on the MTDC channel. For yourselves at the moment, are you busy? Things going good?
Yep, we are busy at the moment, and hopefully it'll continue.
And it's not just turning, is it? You do a bit of milling, so if people are interested in component manufacture from Quantum Precision, then get in contact with this guy. Now, this isn't a cycle time challenge today, this is something different. This is, guess how many components there are in this box. Now, these are components made here at Quantum Precision, and the closest to the number will win a Swarf and Chips goodie bag. How many parts, how many turned parts are there in that book or in that box? And it looks a little bit deceiving, I can tell you that for now. There's quite a few. Jim, you made all... Yeah, go on.
I did only come in today because I thought Lindsay was coming, but apparently she hasn't turned up today, which would be disappointing, but there we go. We had to put up with the rest of you, but never mind.
You had to put up with the rest of us, but that's the first time I've ever heard that, so it makes a nice change. It's normally the other way around. That's it from me here at Quantum Precision.
Jim wants me, not you, Paul.
It does. There's something wrong with my chair. Do you keep letting it down, or there is?
No, it's just weight. It's
not
weight.
a bit shorter.
It's not a miracle worker.
Jim is a great example of a company that is transitioning between a bit of heckling going on in the background there. But yeah, Jim is one of these guys that's transitioning from milling machines across to sliding head lathes to get the benefits out of those machines when it comes to taking components off of milling machines, putting them on the sliders and running lights out. Hence he's got so many sliding head lathes.
Really?
How many parts are in the box? I don't know.
You said it was deceiving.
700.
700?
As many as that? Have you counted? Jim will fix it for you. You know, he's counted. I'm going with 500.
500.
Yeah, he likes you, Lindsay, doesn't he?
He
You're going to get a
he
Christmas
likes
card.
me. Yeah, I'll take it, Jim.
I said
Thank
we'd
you.
find you a fan, didn't I? Hey, well done, you.
Oh, right, again, anyway, your chance to win a Swarf and Chips goodie bag. We give away a goodie bag every single week, so put your guesses in the comments box below. How many of those parts were in that box? Right, before we speak to Dominic, who is actually one of the first people we ever interviewed on a Swarf and Chips almost 2 years ago, let's hear from a Matsuura customer.
So for this feature on Swarf and Chips, I'm here at SRD Engineering and with two gentlemen, both very different roles here at the company. I'll start with you, Michael. Michael, you're hands-on now on this Matsuura machine. It's recently been installed. Give us 30 seconds on what you think of the machine.
It's amazing, a big beast of a machine, and it ploughs through the work like you wouldn't believe.
Easy to get to grips with because you've been used to vertical machines and others?
Yeah, well, I've used Fanuc before, but this is a completely new system. But yeah, it's within a couple of weeks, it's just another machine, really, to be honest.
Efficiency on this machine for you here, Mark. You've got a lot of other machine tools. How does it compare?
Currently calculating around over 90%, but the joy is freeing up other capacity on other machines.
Oh, that's a big one, freeing up the
big one. Yeah, so moving jobs onto this machine, we're able to get other work on our other machines, which used to tie up long jobs.
What would be the minimum batch size you would anticipate taking on these machines?
I'd say 100.
Okay, so even with a horizontal, that's quite a low volume.
Yeah.
You can still become productive and efficient with that.
Yeah, with the work we're putting on her at the moment and the calculations we're making, it's really good.
And from your side, you've been in engineering many years, Michael.
Yeah.
Are things getting easier now with these machines? Is the software getting much better?
Yeah, it's a lot easier now, and especially we've got the lasers on the machine as well. So there's no have we done it right, have we done it wrong. It's there, it's set up. It checks the tool after it's finished, so we know we're not going to wipe out about 10 cutters because you smashed the first cutter. So yeah, it's brilliant.
So does that mean you don't need micrometers and verniers anymore?
That'll never happen. Never happen. Still need them, but it's kind of a lot out. We're finding the accuracy is really good.
Good stuff. First Matsuura here installed at SRD Engineering in Bicester, and it's a horizontal.
Wow, what a great installation for Matsuura. Welcome to the set, Dominic. How's the new facelift?
What do you think? I love it. What about you?
I love it.
Do you mean facelift or the business?
Oh, how's the facelift?
Oh, I've not been. Have you been?
Can you tell?
Yeah.
Is it that evident?
It's obviously the beard.
Yeah.
Covering it up.
No, but really, in all honesty, actually, I'll take it back because I did say almost 2 years, but I think it's over 2 years when we interviewed you on Swarf and Chips last.
I think it's about 2.5 years ago, yeah. Long time ago. Like yesterday.
There's been some new machines come into the portfolio, hasn't there, since we met then, and some more to come as well. How well has that MX330 pallet machine gone, Dom?
It's quite funny because at the Swarf and Chips, obviously when we did it 2.5 years ago, I actually introduced that machine and asked everybody to come to Mac. Well, that machine has been obviously our fastest growing 5-axis multi-pallet machine, not only in the UK but worldwide. And since then, obviously, we've got the machine behind me, the MX520 PC4, and later on this year we see the arrival of the MX850 PC4 as well, on the back of the 330.
I mean, that 850, that's a big machine, isn't it? Is there as much of a market for that size as your 520 and your 330, do you think?
Well, the 850 generally we don't sell so many of compared to the 520 and the 330. But what we're starting to see now that we've obviously made people aware that the multi-pallet is available on that platform, on an 850 diameter platform, we've got an awful lot of interest. And again, we're not looking at volume from our standpoint, but what it does, it gives the customer something completely different at that size of 5-axis machine tool.
I think just coming back to that SRD video, they bought the horizontal from you. It's their first Matsuura machine. I mentioned transition in business in an earlier piece we did, but this is a big transition for them, isn't it? Because they were doing a lot of the work on the vertical machining centres, and in fact I believe that one of their groups of parts they've reduced from 38 hours for a quantity of parts down to 12 hours, which is a phenomenal saving, but it's a new way of thinking for them.
Correct. I mean, when I went in there, when in fact Mark came on to our stand at Mac and invited me down, and I had a look at what they were doing. So again, like a lot of companies in the UK on vertical 3-axis machining, there's a lot of parts that they job. So the mindset is on the machine that's actually behind you there, Paul, that when you take the part from the vertical to the horizontal, I know you mentioned about leaning over, the thing is it is a vertical, but it's a vertical times 60 faces. So you can leave the machine set up on every face as if it was a vertical, hence the reduction in cycle time.
Sorry, Joe, just one more thing on that. What I found interesting is actually the cycle time of the machining of the component isn't that much different to how they're doing it currently on the vertical. So all of the saving, that massive saving I mentioned, is as a result of the configuration, the multiple setups, and getting rid of, keeping that spindle going, isn't it?
Well, what it is, it's all about zero set. So everything that we promote here at Matsuura is zero set. So, we've had today, obviously, we're at the end of our third day of our open house here, where, we're telling people that you don't need volume. The variety, if you've got variety and short batches is where you get the biggest return, because that is what stops a vertical machine being utilised. So typically a vertical user is 25-30% maximum utilisation in an 8-hour period. We're saying we can give you 80 to 90 over a 24-hour period. That makes the numbers work.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say to you really. It's presumably when you put the first machine into a user like SRD, that's not as easy maybe as for other manufacturers, but once you've got the first machine in there, and they're used to Matsuura, they're used to the way you work and think, the second and third machine's far easier.
Correct. I mean, what I find is there's a customer, in fact you interviewed Bernard Holmes in all the way where you went to see Russell Thackeray, and his mother, who obviously is the MD, the accountant of the business, straight away, as soon as the first multi-pallet machine went in, they bought another one, and they've recently bought a third machine. Why? They've gone from verticals to multi-pallet because they're making money. It's all about the return on investment.
So you've almost got to ignore the ticket price, it's price per part.
It's price per month. I mean, if you lay X down, you make Y without the operating overhead of the operator.
We were speaking to a gentleman earlier, I don't know his name, but he was saying, I've not bought that machine there to look pretty. I bought that machine because as soon as it sits down in the showroom, there you go, it's making money.
See, that's me puzzled, because I just thought it's because you were a good salesman, but it obviously goes beyond that.
I try hard.
And just one final one for me, Dom. Obviously all the MX range, 520 and the others with the palletisation now. What level of inquiries do you get for that machine with and without the automation?
We generally get a 5-axis inquiry. The customer doesn't know he wants to buy a multi-pallet machine. So obviously me and the guys, we upsell. So we challenge the customer and say, well, for not a lot more money, you could have more tools and pallets. Have you thought of blah, blah, blah? So it's all about, if the customer's doing variety of product on a repetitive cycle, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, why reset that machine up, which is what you do on a single table vertical or a single table 5-axis. So it's just asking the customer to think out of the box. So that's how we change.
So it comes from you holding their hand rather than coming from the client?
Well, no, I mean, I haven't been there yet, but I've had an inquiry this week for a 5-axis machine. The customer wants to talk to me next week. I'll say, have you ever thought of doing it this way? So it's about education and making people aware. And, you know, we like tools and pallets. It's our forte, so to speak. And the products run. You know, I'm confident because our product is reliable.
You have a very good name in this industry.
And a great showroom.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much.
No, thank you for having us here. Now, thank you for watching this week's Swarf and Chips here at the latest new facelift of Matsuura. So you're more than welcome to come on down. Do get in touch with the guys here at Matsuura. Don't forget your guesses for the cycle time challenge, which is very different this week, guessing how many of those parts are in the box to win a Swarf and Chips goodie bag. So as we always say, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And gents, as we always say, keep those spindles turning.